Good evening and welcome to another Let's Be Real. This is PRZ Radio 109.2 FM. Thank you for all our listeners. My name is Pastor Jummy Opedare and I'm your host. I'm so delighted to have in the house this evening my wonderful people, Mr. T, Afo and Sally. We are going to discuss a very interesting topic tonight: how to stay safe in this day and age, especially when we are on the social media. Tonight is going to be very interesting. If you have any question as we are discussing, you can email us on letsbereal@plzfm.com. letsbereal@plzfm.com, or you can text us on 07984 258 017. You can text us on 07984 258 017. If you are texting us from outside the United Kingdom, you have to put +44. God bless you as you continue to tune in, and I believe that you are finding this very interesting. If there's anything that you want us to bring to the air and discuss, please don't hesitate to email us or text us, and we'll bring the discussion up for you. Tonight, I'm going to leave you with my people to discuss this particular issue that is going on. The world is changing, as we all know. Everyone now are on the internet. Everyone now is talking to one instrument or the other. Want to find out what effect has this social media got in our lives, especially as Christians. Should we be on it in the first place, or should we not? Let me welcome my people and we start the discussion. Mr. T, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Afo, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Sally, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, now I throw the question to you. Should Christians be on social media in the first place?
Well, I think Christians, there's nothing bad about Christians being on social media. I mean, there are a lot of positive aspects to it. That said, I think there are some things that we need to take into consideration whilst we partake in using some of these forums and mediums. Social media is good for linking us up with friends and even people all around the world. It's not... It's so easy to be able to speak to someone in another country in matter of seconds just because of social media, keeping up to date with your friends and family wherever they may be, or even fellow Christian brothers and sisters. So I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't know what you think, Sally.
Yeah, I totally agree. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. I think that can include social media as well. So if you have, for example, a Twitter account, you can use it to glorify the name of God. If you have a ministry going, like on Facebook, for example, I get loads of invites to church events, even our Let's Be Real events, which is every second Friday of the month. You get that on Facebook, we get that on WhatsApp and stuff like that. So it can be good for ministry as well as other things as well.
Okay, Afo, what do you think?
I don't have an issue with Christians being on social media. I feel like the world is moving very fast, and we have to keep up with whatever's going on around us. We can't be backwards. We can't stay where we are. As both of Sally and Ty have mentioned, in terms of social media, there's a larger outreach, so we can speak to people all across the world, speak to people from different communities, and reach people we wouldn't be able to reach before. And also, not just that, it keeps us in touch with other things in terms of news, any trends going on. We can easily see this through social media. And I think it's quite cool that we're able to have this.
Yeah, I mean, that's all well and said, but, there are some issues that are happening, which I think we need to try and raise and try to, almost try to educate our Christian brothers and sisters. Because, with social media, it's easy to have or partake in bad habits. We hear, about cyberbullying, we hear about, arguments even between church members, brothers and sisters, just because of things that are posted. I mean, as Christians, I think we need to be well aware about what's being posted, realizing that we're constantly portraying an image of ourselves by
That's
using
true.
whatever we post and whatever we say on social media. Is that not true?
I personally actually don't even use social media that much because of some of the things you mentioned. Although I feel people are allowed to use it and they should be able to express it, I personally don't use it because of some of my fears in terms of what people post on it and what people search for. People can find your background, your history straight away from your social media accounts, from what you've posted, and they can judge you from that. They can know things about you that you shouldn't really, you don't really want to be out there, and they can form an opinion of you. And there are some dangers in terms of bullying and bullying others, and I don't think it can be the safest place for so many people essentially. But it depends on how you use it, I guess. But personally, I don't, because of some of the things you mentioned and some of the things I've just mentioned as well.
Yeah, as an avid user of social media myself.
Average user.
So I've seen a lot of occasions where people have lost their jobs due to what they posted online, so like racist comments, bullying, saying things about people, posting explicit images online of other people, things where you can get yourself in big trouble. Even as Christians, you shouldn't be passing judgment online, so you do get the temptation to want to get involved in, bringing other people down, but as a Christian, you should really think, what was that? Like, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus, if you were standing right in front of Jesus, for example, would you be happy with him hearing what you're saying, kind of thing, or hearing what you're typing? You kind of have to put yourself in a mindset that, what if that person was me? How would I be feeling at this time? So, in that kind of sense, you have to be very careful on what you say online. Sometimes I've been tempted as well on many occasions. I can't judge other people, but I think most times nowadays, I just think it's not worth it. I don't know this person, so I can turn off go off Twitter, go off Facebook, and continue my own business without having to get involved, really.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to think very carefully about whether we are glorifying God in the use of social media. I mean, I think you said it earlier, so whatever you eat or drink, whatever you do all to the glory of God. That's what it says in 1 Corinthians 10:31. So are we glorifying God through our use of social media? I mean, it's you go on it and you see what certain people are saying and things that people are posting. If we look at, I'm a guy, if you look at certain things that girls are wearing on social media, if you're trying to if you're portraying yourself in that way, I don't know whether you're going to be attracting the right kind of people. I have a big issue with people like telling everyone step by step what is happening with them in their day, especially with kind of their relationships. For example, in previous relationships, you get into arguments with your partner or the person that you're with. and you just tell them, the whole world, that I'm not talking to this person, or you try and do indirect. I don't know if people remember the time of BBM and status updates, where you post something up there because you're trying to send a message to someone, a negative message, without talking to that person directly. You get a lot of people that get so brave because they're talking on the web. They think that they can just say anything to anyone because there's less consequence because you're not in close proximity with them. So I have an issue with that, especially with girls. Posting things about their partners or the type of dressing that they have on social media.
Same. I can't really judge because I've been a propagator of posting stuff online in directs, and also if I'm in a bad mood, for me it was, I've learnt my lesson, but it was a way of expressing myself without having to kind of get into an argument with someone. Like, if I'm not talking to you, I don't want to actually talk to you, but I want you to know that I'm thinking about you in a negative way, kind of thing. But obviously, after doing such and such and getting in trouble for that, and you kind of learn your lesson afterwards. It's not worth it at the end of the day, because, for example, if you do put a status about having an argument with your partner, and then obviously they will catch the drift, and then the argument will occur.
It will escalate.
It will escalate. And I've spoken to, for example, Pastor Jummy about it, and she's a person that you can, if you have a problem with someone, you can actually go talk to someone who you feel will listen to you and give you good advice, rather than putting it online and then it escalates into the next level.
Yeah.
Which you didn't
And
want
also,
before.
some other people might see it and just misinterpret the whole thing, the whole message, and then get people that are not supposed to know about your matters to know about it. So I would say that one should, especially Christians, should be very, very careful. We should step back before we post anything online.
Also, I think, just to touch on all of that again, once again, people feel like social media is a virtual reality and it's an escape from the real world, but a lot of these things are just attention seeking, and it's not real. Like, you can't be doing things, you can't just post your whole life, your life story on the internet so people can just tune into your life like it's an episode and say, oh yeah, they're having another argument again, look, they're having another argument, oh, what's it about this time, oh, she's saying this, or maybe you've done this, and your life becomes a comedy to people, like just some form of entertainment. And you can't be doing that. You need to know the difference, that you can't just post everything out there. I actually know some woman who, she posts everything on Facebook. She's going through a court case with her children's dad. She has 2 children with him. She's going through a court case and she tells us everything that's going on in the court case. She just tells us what the mum's doing and everything. And then she'll also post that she's going out drinking and all this. So you're looking at this and saying, is this the type of thing you want to be posting while you're going through a court case over your children? Like, they're going out drinking and getting drunk, and you're also going through all this situation. What time she wakes up, you can go on her Facebook and see it. What she's having for dinner, you can go on her Facebook and see it. And it just becomes an episode for people to tune into and watch it. Oh yeah, she's going through this. This is the latest in the court case and stuff like that. And you need to be able to separate the two and keep your private life to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's just realizing that whatever we do post there, it's open out there to the whole wide world, and realizing that even the things that you think is only being shown to your friends, some of the people you think are your friends, and I'm guilty about this as well, where you've seen something that someone has posted, and you what do you call it, screenshot it, and then you put it in another private group and you start talking about it, and this is something that someone else has shared, and you now start gossiping, and we know that gossiping is a sin. So we need to think in everything that we're doing with the use of social media. Are we glorifying God? Is it leading us to sin? So we have to be very, very careful with what we post on there, and how we react to things.
I definitely agree. You have to be mindful of what you actually type on there, the comments you leave on other people's statuses or pictures, because you don't know who is watching what you're gonna do.
You know, one day I was so surprised. I met a lady, and she said to me, "I've seen you before." I said, "I've never met you." So I went on Facebook. I saw your children. I saw this. I saw that. You know, I was like, "Oh, why?" You know, this is not the type of relationship I want. I don't want everybody to know my thing. But I just discovered that she's gone to research about me. She knows everything about me. And I was like, no, she's not my friend on Facebook, but she knows everything about me. And that's how people search and check everything about you.
Work, what your family looks like, what schools your kids go to, you know, the university that you went to, because Facebook obviously allows for people to see this information. So what we can do in regards to that is change your Facebook settings. You know, some people, you try and go on their profile and you can only see their picture, and you can't even like click on the picture to expand it. There's kind of tight privacy settings. You know. I remember back in the day when I used to hide from my dad on Facebook. Everything was on private, but then obviously he added me on Facebook and now he can see my
That's another thing I want to touch on, what you just mentioned. I've always been the type of person, I don't like someone to come up to me and tell me they know me without them actually knowing me. I've never, like, you can't tell me, or you can't sit with a group of people and talk about me when you don't know me. And I'd never like that. And that's what things like Twitter, it makes possible, Facebook make possible. You can sit down and talk about someone without actually ever meeting the person, and that can never be me. You can't. That's just me. That's why I don't use it. And also, people like to do things for likes. That's why they like to post things on Facebook. They like to get not fame, but like they get a sense of accomplishment from these type of things.
Also, it gives a false impression about what is happening in your life, isn't it? It gives a false impression. Someone was sharing with me that a friend of ours, a long time friend of ours, went on Facebook, searched her on Facebook, saw the beautiful pictures, because nobody ever posts bad pictures of themselves on Facebook or anything. So she saw the pictures that she's always looking glamorous, everything beautiful, and she made a request. Oh, I know you are very comfortable, my friend. Can you send me so amount of money? And that one laughed. That if she know her true situation, she won't even make that request. I said, how would she know? Because the image that she could see on the internet is different from exactly what you are going through. Somebody was in the hospital and was testing, and the employer said they don't think he's really sick. You can't be posting on Facebook, and actually you can be on your bed and do, but they will be thinking, if you are really, really sick, you won't be on your Facebook.
That's true. Even though scripture speaks against seeking out one's glory, Proverbs 25, 27. It depends. Like if you post stuff online, wanting to get likes, wanting to get retweets, you have to think of the kind of image you're putting out there for people to see. So on Twitter, for example, people post ridiculous things at times. I don't even want to say because this is a Christian channel, but the things that people post, you're thinking, if your parents were to see this, for example, how would they react? If you were to take that and your pastor saw that, how would your pastor react? Even videos of them like drinking and getting drunk, being crazy, explicit pictures, pictures or videos of other people without their permission, things like that, where you're putting yourself and other people in a position of, how can I move forward from this? Some things. There's a guy on there, if anybody remembers the Dominic Sinclair situation, and that's been chasing him for 2 years now. Putting yourself in that kind of situation is not something that you would want.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what I was saying before, where when I made a comment that whatever you put there, you should have in mind that it's possible that anyone can see what you've posted. Absolutely. And realizing that there are consequences for some of these things that you post. So, for example, you've got cases of footballers. I think there was a footballer recently, I think his name is Andre Gray, that played for Burnley. Is it Burnley? Who posted certain things, certain, I think, was it racial views or homophobic views about 4 years ago, or maybe a long time ago, and he scored a few goals one game, and people went back and searched for those comments that he made, and because of that, I believe he got fined. He
fined, 3-game ban or something. He
got some bans as well. Just realizing that what you've said in the past can come back to haunt you. So you have to be very, very careful with what you say, especially as a Christian. I believe, that in whatever you're doing, you should let the light of Christ shine through you. So, you just need to be so careful with social media.
I think not to just focus on the negative parts of social media, we can also highlight the positive parts of social media. So, for example, if you have a business, and social media can be a great avenue to promoting yourself, promoting your business. So, for example, I know lots of people on Twitter who have clothing lines or who have jewelry lines, makeup lines, and from there they can link up to YouTube, get loads of views. You can make money from videos that you make. You can get loads of traffic to your website through posting on Twitter. There's been loads of movements started on Twitter. For example, the Black Lives Matter movement. Making people aware of social injustice that has been going on around the world that we would be unaware of if not for social media. For example, now we can go live on Facebook, and that lady, if anybody remembers, posted a video of her situation where her husband was attacked by the police. Without Facebook, without that live video, we wouldn't have known that situation occurred. So in terms of business, in terms of making people aware, news like Afolabi mentioned earlier, because loads of people don't watch the news. I don't watch the news, so I get my news from Twitter. I make sure I verify it, so I'm not walking around with like false information. But kind of things like that in that aspect, and also spreading the ministry, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that there are positive aspects to it, and it's very important that we have a balanced view here. But at the same time, we should really be giving advice to children, don't we think so?
Exactly.
Because it's so easy for children to join bad company through social media, or to do the wrong things, or to fall into sin or into problems. I mean, what kind of advice would we be thinking we should be giving children? Or should they even be on these devices?
I think we need to establish, like, at what age should kids even be on social media, because I feel like I mentioned earlier, all this social media, all this internet is a virtual reality for kids. And then so many people portray different lifestyles that they're not living. And then these kids like feel like these are the standards they should be following. This is the life they should be living, and they have these expectations that are, this is how a boy should behave, this is how a girl should behave, whether it's bad or good. They feel like, it's justified because it's on social media that people are portraying this image, and like it's going around that I should be this bad boy, I should act like a bad boy online, I should act like a bad boy, or my boyfriend should be this, do this for me, do that for me. Unrealistic expectations, which are just all social online. And as a young kid, you won't really be able to understand what's real in real life and what's virtual reality, essentially. And then they'll just be misled and confused. And I feel it's a difficult situation, especially for young kids.
Well, last week somebody was showing me the pictures of a child that was holding maybe something like a gun on social media. So apparently he wasn't thinking about the consequences. He wasn't thinking about the image he's portraying to the whole world. He wasn't thinking about any other thing than he wants to show cool as somebody that is tough or hard or whatever. And I've heard about the story of a guy that was posting such images online of himself, maybe posting the pictures that know who he was. And unfortunately, many times police will knock on his door and check that is everything okay? Is he the type of person, the image you're seeing outside? And unfortunately, the boy got killed by the gang because they thought he was tougher than he was.
You can die with a retweet. It's as simple as that.
It's true. People get loads of videos you've seen online of people getting, attacked, beaten up for something that they've posted online. Giving yourself like a false bravado of, I'm going to say this to you online because I'm behind a computer, and then you meet that person in real life,
and it's the retweet,
and it's a different situation because you don't know who you're actually talking to. It's actually, I don't even think kids below a certain age. I think when you get to year 9, then you can have like a Nokia phone that you can ring your parents with. I don't think you need Instagram, Snapchat. What else is there? Facebook. You shouldn't have all that. All you need to talk to your mom and your siblings. That's all you need. When you get to school, you talk to your friends. When you see them tomorrow, you can talk to them again. And that's it. Like, I don't know.
In terms of age, I don't know if many people are aware of this, but with regards to Facebook, you shouldn't be joining it if you're under 13. You're not allowed to be on Facebook if you're under 13. But obviously it's very difficult to police it. I mean, if you're, most of us have signed up to Facebook, and it's up to you to decide what age you are. So I've even known of younger ones who, when they were below that age, they said they changed their date of birth and said they're a little bit higher. But I think that's a good guiding mark in terms of if I, when I have my children at below 13, I don't think you should be on Facebook. I don't think you should be on a lot of these social media platforms. Then again, we realize that it's difficult to police this. So I think there are certain things that as parents we need to be doing. I think we need to be setting some ground rules, basically, in terms of telling them what we're doing today, basically, or if you break this rule, there are going to be consequences. Just like there'll be consequences if you, I don't know, if you fought a brother on the street, or if you said a bad word to someone. If you post something that is bad online, there should be some sort of consequences. I think a lot of this is also about getting to know your child's habits and having a certain relationship where there's freedom of communication, where you can talk easily with them. It's a lot of the things that I think were covered in the last few sessions of Let's Be Real, actually. But it's very, very important that we're monitoring children on social media devices.
I agree. I totally agree. I don't think children should have like privacy up to like, let's say 16, to be honest, because these days, because of social media, they're allowed to see a lot more things. And when I was growing up, all I had out to the outside world was my money, my CPU and monitor. That my parents can monitor everything I would do. They could stand behind me and see what I was doing. Now you have your smartphones, laptop. And parents these days are very lenient with what they allow their children to do. And I don't think a child should have like an iPhone 7. What are you doing with an iPhone 7? Like I said earlier, a Motorola or Nokia phone would
I think we need to be aware of how fast times are moving as well, because trends are moving so quick, technology is moving so quick, and you're asking parents to be tech savvy as well. They have to keep up with these things. Like I can ask you, Pastor Jimmy, now, can you, like Snapchat, you know about Snapchat?
I know about it, but I don't use it.
How did you know about it?
Somebody, maybe Falani taught me.
They showed you it.
They showed
But if
me,
they didn't,
and
if
they
they
told me not to go on
if
it.
they didn't show you it, you wouldn't know about it.
I wouldn't know about
And that's
it.
what all the kids these days are using now. Like it moves so fast that it's hard to keep up. There's always a new app. There's always a new trend. There's always something. There's always a different avenue for them to express themselves or find something new. I can't say Twitter will be around in 10 years time, because it might not. There might be something new. There might the same with Facebook. So there's always something new, and it's very difficult to monitor because. And even just to say, oh yeah, they should have a Motorola. In 10 years time, phones could be a completely different thing now.
Yeah.
10 years ago, touchscreen wasn't even a reality in our heads.
Yeah.
And it moves so fast that you can't just say, oh, I'm only going to give you a Motorola. Before you know it, it could be something new, which is every kid has to have. And there'll be the benefits for you to have for the kid to have it. That's the issue. So you have to be tech savvy and keep up with these trends as well, and also understand the dangers as well as the positives.
Yeah,
and not always go for every option.
No, I do fully agree. I think it's a combination of things. We can't just use one approach. I think there's a part of it which is not allowing them to have the device at a certain age. I think that's important. I think also what you're saying really is that as parents we can't be lazy. We need to know the technology and get to we need to be on our toes really, because I think if a child can learn how to use a device or a new platform, I think a parent can do it as well. So it's possible that the child finds out about it or uses it earlier, but you should also be going out exploring, even doing your own research. What are children using these days? Try to speak to your child and say, what devices are you using? If they, to be honest, children will try to hide things from you, but you need to create a relationship or an atmosphere where they feel comfortable enough to be able to share certain things with you. So I think, coming from an African background, we have this perspective that, and some African parents are very, they find it difficult to get to use technology quicker. But I'm beginning to see now that they had a big improvements. I mean, they flooded and taken over Facebook. They're starting to intrude or interfere into Instagram. It's only a matter of time before they start using Snapchat, to be honest. But as you say, there'll be a new thing that children will run to.
I feel like it starts with the basics as well with parents, like what you said about getting to know your child. Like listen to the music they listen to, understand what everything's going on in their lives, understand what they're about. Like if you listen to their music, then they'll be able to, oh yeah, my mum likes this music, my mum's cool as well, or whatever like that. And then you'll be able to like become closer in terms of what they like and what they like doing and their friends and whatnot, and meet their friends and stuff. And then you'll be able to get to know them better and you'll be able to monitor things like that.
Well, I also want to say that you can't give a child a phone and not know what the child used the phone for.
Agreed.
So I will still stick with the age of 13, that you cannot just have a multimedia phone before you are before you are 13, because by the time I want to go on Snapchat and the boys are saying, yo, you don't need it, they're already 18, 19, for God's sake. Well, when they are 13, they can't tell me that. They're on Facebook, I'm looking at the Facebook. They're on, it was only Facebook then, isn't it? Just Facebook, and I'm there, log in, let me see what is happening. When I see anything that is not right, I say, please don't do this, don't write this, it's not right. So everybody is looking at it, and you give them the basic information of what they have to do on the social media and the consequences of it. But when they are 17, 18, it will be very, very difficult to do that.
Did you know about MSN?
Yes,
of course you know.
yes, I do.
Of course.
I was asking, that was before all of that, and maybe you didn't know.
BB, I know all
you know
about
about
that.
BB and MSN.
Yeah.
All right.
I think just to go on the back of what Pastor Jimmy is saying, and what Afolabi and Taye covered as well. building a relationship with your child so that they are comfortable to tell you what they're doing and who they're talking to, and not hiding things from their parents. Because like, if you create an atmosphere where they're scared to talk to you, and you block them from all the social medias on your phone or on the phone you got, they can still go to their friend's house, use their friend's phone to create accounts. Because all you need is an account. You can do it anywhere. You can go to use any other device and log in and use your, let's say for Snapchat, for example, you can use that on anybody's phone. All you need is a login.
Yeah.
So creating can I go on your Snapchat, just see what you're doing? Yeah. Okay, mom, because it shouldn't have anything to hide, especially at a young age. What things are you going through that you can't speak to your parents about?
Yeah, I think when you're restricting them from using some of these things, because they'll go out there, they'll go to their schools and they'll see some of their friends on these things, you need to be explaining the reason. So not just stopping them and just saying, no, I don't want you to be on it. Explain, because the reality is that what's happening out there is that some children are being groomed by bad, evil people out there. They go on them. It's not even just children. You even get young girls who get random messages. Haven't you had that, Sally?
I've had a couple messages, people just declaring their love for me on Facebook. Yeah, on the messenger. You say, I love you. Hello, Sally. I love you. Like, you don't even know.
You don't even know the person. Now, imagine if you have like a young child who maybe he's feeling a little bit like no one cares about them, a little bit lonely, and then some random person
saying that they love you, and then you be more inclined to reply, oh, hello, yeah, oh, where do you live? I live so and so. Oh, do you want to meet this time of the day? I will take you to buy something. Okay, great. And then that's how it can lead to worse situations. You have to be really careful. That's another thing for monitoring what your kids are doing online. Don't talk to strangers online. Telling them that what can happen, exposing them to like basically the negatives. Because I feel like although some people like to shelter their kids, it's good sometimes to show them this happens in real life. People kids get kidnapped, kids get taken advantage of all the time. So you have to protect yourself against this kind of. If someone messages you, block and delete. Tell your parents, oh, this person that messaged me, block and delete. You have to protect yourself.
That's very important. Very, very important. So I don't know how many people are listening to us out there. You need to have a very important meeting with your children and know what they are doing. Establish a relationship with them. Begin to find out what is going on in their bedrooms. What about letting a child have a phone till a certain time of the day?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think if for the ages of 13 to 16 or maybe 15.
Older for girls as well, from 18 to 21.
Please. I think girls should have the same rules as boys, because boys can be worse, to be honest. Have you heard of Yoruba demons?
Yeah, we're talking about the dangers of like talking to people. That's why I'm talking about.
But girls and boys, both girls and boys get groomed online, not just girls.
That's true.
Both girls and young boys.
I'm talking about this, and older girls. A 21-year-old boy can't get groomed by anyone.
Yeah, if you're vulnerable to it, you can't dismiss people's experiences.
Find an example for me, and I'll believe it.
I think we'll find an example for you.
Yeah, there's a bit of controversy. I mean, I'll go from the line of you should treat them as similar as you can in terms of the age groups where you take the phone away from them. So I do think, between 13 and maybe 15, 16, I think maybe 15, taking the phone away from them at like a certain time, or having a regular point where you actually go through the phone and just check what they're doing. I think that's fine.
Yeah. When we are talking about boys or girls, some people are more mature, even though they're younger.
Yeah.
They can be more mature than the other ones that are older. Yeah. So you will know your child, you will know who is who, you will know what maybe one that can be easily deceived.
Yeah.
And you need to monitor and help them further. Maybe but you said 15, you might help them to 16 before you let them be independent and do whatever they want to do. Then you will be able to trust them. You would have tried them on several occasions and see that they've passed the test, now they can do things and you can trust them.
And that's another way of like you said, building relationships between you and your child. Like when I was younger, my dad used to chauffeur me everywhere. And that was good for me. That means I didn't have to get the bus home. But after a while, when I wanted to go out, like when I was at uni and I'd go out and I'd be like, oh, Dad, I'm going this place, he would just have to say okay, because you know, he trusts that when I'm going to come back at a reasonable time, and I don't drink alcohol as well, so I'm not going to be, you know, in a dangerous position to get home. I'll be with my friends, because my dad also knows my friends. So I'm with, for example, Annie or Esther. Okay, good. Or sometimes we'd FaceTime him and say, oh yeah, Dad, we're going out. And you know, so building a rapport with your parents, so they can trust you, so that what you said you would do is what you would do.
Absolutely.
In terms of, I think we've spoken a lot about children and parents. What about people kind of like around our age? In terms of maybe young couples, and do you think it's okay for a young, I don't know, a boyfriend to speak to his partner, and say you shouldn't be posting certain things?
I think it depends what the thing is. So I wouldn't say you should have like authority over your partner. You can't post that because I said you can't post that. But if I was to post something indecent, for example, I wouldn't. But if I was to post something and my boyfriend was like, oh, I wouldn't appreciate you posting that online, I would take that into consideration, and then I wouldn't post it. But I don't think you should demand and say, if you do that, I'm not going to talk to you for 2 days. That's ridiculous. I don't think you should have authority over what your partner posts. A partner should have sense to know that obviously this person wouldn't like it if I did this. Let me not do this. So not put yourself in that position in the first place, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose where I'm coming from is just to make sure that people realize that they're an extension of others as well. So it's not just maybe we take it to this to the point of maybe a husband and wife, because that's more serious, isn't it? If you're posting things, realize that you're an extension of your husband, an extension of your wife, or even your church. Certain things that you post, you know, they're going to go back. That's the person that is going to that church, and that's what he's saying, or they're saying. It's just trying to realize that it's not just about you. Whatever you do online, you're reflecting, or you're an ambassador for either your family or your church or even your workplace. And that's why the consequences that we were speaking before can happen in terms of losing employment, or even in terms just even before you get to those stages, when it comes to what you're posting as a young man or a young woman. What normally happens when you're about to get into a relationship is that people do some sort of background check, isn't it? So in terms of looking at your social media, and you said your employer did that.
Yeah, he looked on YouTube for one of my YouTube videos from ACS. Because I said I was part of the ACS, so he checked on YouTube, and I was like, "Whoa, you did that?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." I was like, "Oh, damn."
Exactly, and I'll say that I've done that for you know, before I got with my wife, you know. I had to do the search to see what kind of thing has she posted in the past, and if it was something bad that came across, I probably wouldn't be in the relationship that I am in now. So it's just trying to realize, as we said from the start, that you're leaving a track record, and that people will come back to look at. I think it's very important that we
I want to jump in here and mention also social media and relationships. Like, you can't let it take over the relationship. Essentially, you can't be with your partner and you're constantly on Twitter, you're constantly on Snapchat, and you can't let social media also define the boundaries of your relationship. Like, set the expectations where you feel like, oh, you have to constantly do this because this is what social media tells me you have to do. Or like, why don't you post me on social media? I want everyone on social media to see me, and stuff like that. That's not the basis of a relationship. A relationship is between you and the person you're in it with, not for the whole world to be like. That doesn't mean you don't love someone because you don't do what social media tells you what you're supposed to do, and that could be dangerous for relationships. You need to understand that, once again, it's a virtual reality. It's not the real world.
It goes two ways though. If you're in a relationship, and we need to qualify the type of relationship here, because I'm starting to think, because of experiences, that you're right. You shouldn't be posting too much PDA or too much things when you're in certain relationships. But when you're maybe with your wife or with your family, I don't think there's anything wrong in trying to show, you know, this is my wife, but when you're in all this kind of puppy love kind of romances, and every week, the girl is expecting you to be showing the picture of the two of you every week, you probably shouldn't be doing that, because you don't know how long it's going to last for. So anyone who is, some people might have experienced having to delete a load of pictures of exes and themselves, and so you probably should be careful about the amount of information you post about your relationship online.
Yeah, but I think with the whole posting picture thing is because there's a difference between not being a person who wants their information posted on a picture, but then hiding your relationship as well. People are always scared of like people hiding their relationships, So if you're going out with someone for exactly, so maybe you have a wife hiding somewhere that you don't want her to see that you have a girlfriend, for example. So I think the whole thing with posting your partner online, they want to know that we're actually in this, and people know that you're in a relationship, not that people will be messaging you, hello, I would like to know you. Exactly. So kind of thing. And I just wanted to ask you, like, what kind of, for example, pictures would you say you wouldn't like to be posted on, besides like obviously you and your partner?
Well, obviously revealing pictures.
That's part of the question. I wouldn't knock that.
Well, yeah, definitely. That's one of the big things. Pictures with certain people who you don't know about.
So that they won't tag you together.
Yeah. So, like, who's that person? If I don't know about the person, why are you posting a picture of the two of you together? Because, questions will be raised. I think we just need to be real, and people are watching what we're going to say. Your friends are going to come back to you and say, what was your girlfriend, what was your wife doing there? So, those kind of things that will come back to you. You don't want that. Yeah.
So normal pictures,
especially as a Christian as well. Like people will judge you from what you're doing. So let's say you're at a party and you're posting pictures of you getting drunk, not even drunk, just with loads of drink there. People assume that you're getting drunk.
Oh yeah.
And then as a Christian, do you want to lead? Let's say you have friends who are not so Christian. Do you want to lead them down that path and let them think that, you look at her, she's doing this, she's always preaching about this, but here she is at a party. You might not even be drinking, but people will just think that, and you want to be careful of what you're posting, essentially.
My brother was sharing with me one day. He said he went to a party and they put loads of drink on the table where they asked him to sit, and he was sat there. He was like, there's nowhere else to sit, and they put brandy, Guinness, everything on the table, and he was there, and he finished his apple juice and left. And a week after, someone walked to him. He said, Minister, I was watching you. I thought you were going to deal with those drinks on the table. I was watching you. And I was there, you were watching me where? And he told, you can imagine if he was drinking any of those, maybe they've taken the pictures, who knows, people just take pictures randomly without even asking for your permission, and you will find out that the pictures have gone farther than where you can think. So we just need to be careful what is happening on social media. The other thing I was going to raise was that the amount of time social media takes. There's no more relationship. There's no more communication. Everyone hooked to their stuff. WhatsApp. This morning I woke up, I saw 253 messages on my WhatsApp. And I was thinking, even if I don't have a job to do, how can I attend to 253 on one phone, not the other one? 253 messages. I'll say, sorry, I just opened everything and wiped them off. And I'm sure there will be important things there, but for me to sit down and be going through 253 messages, I wouldn't do anything for the day. And that was from one group.
I have a big problem with a lot of abuse of, especially WhatsApp, where people are always sending things, and just you see one thing and you send it straight away. And especially the chain messages as well. I have a huge issue with it. God is not going to hate me if I don't send that message to 10 other people.
It's just blackmail. Spiritual blackmail.
Exactly. And some people fall for that, and they think if they don't respond, then there might be a consequence. I think we need to educate people to realize that that's not really what God is wanting for us. You can, try to preach the gospel and stuff, but sending a lot of these chain messages, I have a problem with it. You're right in saying that it can take a load of our time.
You won't talk to your partner, you won't talk to your children, you are hooked on your phone, and everybody does their own thing in the house. So what time will you have to build your relationship? What time will you have to talk to your children when even parents are hooked on their own gadgets? They are hooked on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and their children too, they're doing their own thing. No homework done, no tidying up done, no cleaning done. Everybody is doing their own thing because of social media.
Yeah, I think we were lucky in the fact that we grew up in a generation where phones were not like that adamant. Like, so we were able to build up a relationship with our parents. But nowadays, because everything on your phone, for example, is so central to everything. Your email, you know, messaging your friends, for example, your business is probably on your phone as well. You can contact so many people on your phone, websites, YouTube. You can do so many things on your phone. I think that's the main reason for people spending a lot of time. But what I try to do is, if I'm spending time with, for example, my friends and stuff, and put your phone to the side. You know, you don't have to reply to every single message that comes through. But when you're by yourself, like when I'm at home, I am on my phone all the time because I'm talking to someone on my phone. Yeah, kind of thing.
Or when you're out with, if you're out with your family, it's important to just create time for the actual physical relationship. It's easy to get lost in this cyber world, and I think the important message is too much of anything is bad, isn't it? So we just need to everything, in proportion.
Yeah, agreed. Did you guys get the message a couple of days ago about LOL being Lucifer our Lord? LOL means laugh out loud. That's a shout out to. It means laugh out loud.
Yeah. We just write things and send it, and I believe that social media can waste your time a lot. Yeah. Can waste your time. Yeah, if you have a target of what you have to do in a day, and you are not disciplined enough, you won't get anything done.
So if you're revising, or if you're doing like anything that needs concentration, you should put your phone to the side, for that time, but at least.
And parents should watch out when their children are doing their homework. Please take the phone off them. If they have to do anything to do with the phone, make sure you are there with them. It's very important. Let them log on. Let them do whatever they want to do. Let them come to the living room or open space and do it. Yeah. That means they have to search for something on their phones. But when they're on their own, by the time they're searching, one message is there, pim, pim. They're checking the messages that is coming on. They're checking on the Snapchat. They're checking on the WhatsApp messages. And the homework will never get done, or done and not done well. Yeah. So we need to be very, very careful. We are talking about staying safe on social media. And the responsibility lies so much on us, the parents. We need to monitor what our children are doing. If we give them a good start, they will build on it. If we help them to start and know and use social media responsibly, then they will be able to do it as responsible adults. But if we don't start well with them, they see us on the phone, on WhatsApp, 1 hour, 2 hours, they will do the same. By the time we are wasting time doing some other things, they are wasting time doing some other things as well. So we need to be very, very careful to monitor what they are doing there so that they can stay safe, especially so that they won't be deceived and be carried away by people that will just be sending them random messages, strangers that they do not know, that we just tell them things that they're looking for, things that they want to hear. And it doesn't do them any good. We've heard about stories that children will go and meet a stranger somewhere. They've got their address online, and they will go there, and that person will deceive them, take advantage of them, rape them, or at times they can be killed. So we don't want that to happen to our children. So don't let us use our money to buy them things that will harm them. Don't let us use our status to buy them trouble. We need to help them to manage these gadgets so that they can stay safe. And I believe that God will keep every one of our children safe. God will keep all of us safe. We will not regret buying this stuff for our children. It will not affect their education. It will not affect their well-being. But it will only contribute positively to their lives in the mighty name of Jesus. Parents, let us continue to stay sensible so that our children can stay safe. God will help us. And I believe that from today, we will start to monitor things that we are supposed to be monitoring. It shall be well with us in Jesus' name. God will keep every one of us. God will keep our children. Anything that we do will not fight against us in the mighty name of Jesus. Every negativity that goes about with social media, we will not be victims in the name of Jesus. Our children will not be victims in the name of Jesus. The glory of the Lord will overshadow them, and every one of us will be happy in the mighty name of Jesus. I leave you with the joy of the Lord, even to continue to be your portion. Thank you, Mr. T. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Afo. God bless you all.